Thank you very much for this opportunity to speak on behalf of those millions of people of South Asian region and particularly the people of Pakistan and its illegally occupied regions of so-called Azad Kashmir and Gilgit-Baltistan. I would like to take this opportunity to share deteriorating state of human rights in Pakistan during military regime and civilian rules in Pakistan. It is dismayed that no single era of united Pakistan history or since Bangladesh became independent country more than 4 decades ago, no single ruler in that country put his or her collective efforts for the rule of law and independent judiciary, accountability or transparency in the existing poor structure of Pakistan. Of course, that country has 2 major capabilities. One is its nuclear arsenal and others are its so-called vanguard of both territorial and ideological boundaries as taught in the curriculum at schools. People of my age have been failed to understand this narrative of a powerful and professional military doctrine of today's Pakistan when they explore history. They see Pakistan's defeat in 1948 at Kashmir Eastern Front. They have seen another failed attempt to grab Kashmir by secret Operation Gibraltar in 1965. And finally, the history has taken its revenge in 1971, when Pakistan had to surrender Bangladesh. The massive scale of ethnic cleansing in Bangladesh by its brothers, our security guards, and subsequent surrender of its best army is a part of shameful history of Pakistan. Mr. Chairman, ladies and gentlemen, after failing many attempts to grab Jammu and Kashmir, my native state, by military operations, Pakistan on behalf of its international mentors formulated another strategy. At one hand, to confuse and divide local people in its jurisdiction. I reject so-called Karachi agreement signed between the President of ruling Muslim Conference and a Pakistani minister without portfolio, who was Mr. Mushtaq Burmani. I would like to let you know that Mushtaq Burmani was former Prime Minister of the state of Bahawalpur. To some people, that argument is a legal proof of Gilgit-Baltistan historical link with the rest of the state of Jammu and Kashmir, but I would rather ask who delegated these powers to Pakistan to delink that strategically important area from rest of the occupied territory, which under the stipulations of truce agreement Pakistan had to vacate. As a student of history and politics, we know that notwithstanding Pakistan complied with UN stipulations for more than half century, that country has been propagating as the champion of right to self-determination of Kashmiri people. Now come to this term. According to definition, self-determination means by oneself or itself without outside influence. Another definition says freedom to live as one chooses or to act or decide without consulting others. And another definition again says, the determining by the people to form their government shall have without reference to the wishes of any other nation, especially by people of a territory of former colony. So in this condition, the United Nations Security Council mentioned right to independence of the state of Jammu and Kashmir, and Pakistan has accepted all those terms and conditions, including withdrawal of its armed forces present in Kashmir. The case today before us is that withdrawal ever taken place. Ladies and gentlemen, can you change the base of a building after constructing multi-story? Similarly not. Same is the case with us Kashmiris. What came aftermath in terms of UN's resolutions, verboten self-determination of Kashmiri people are bilateral agreements between Pakistan and India. and China simply cannot change the very basic jurisprudence of our case at international level. And we have no hesitation in calling Pakistan a proxy state who act on behalf of foreign powers. I would also like to inform you that the military militancy which was started in late 90s had global agenda to take India into GATT, which is known as General Agreement on Trade and Tariff, which was later reshaped as WTO, World Trade Organization, in 1990s and 1992. India had signed that agreement, and Kashmiri militancy was sabotaged by those who had asked Pakistan to arm innocent Kashmiri youth. Due to that militancy, the entire Pakistani occupied Kashmir region will become a training hub, and slogan of holy war were raised, propagated and published under the state's patronage. Our exiled chairman, Sardar Shaukat Ali Kashmiri, had once said that the roots of fundamentalism, extremism and bloodshed lies in so-called Azad Kashmir, because that camouflaged territory is providing enough space for Pakistani security establishment to hide its strategic assets in that area. When Kashmiri nationalist political parties, mainly the United Kashmiri People's National Party, started a peaceful campaign, the security apparatus has used its power with impunity and with force to destroy voices of reason in the region. Ladies and gentlemen, Pakistan is also propagating that Kashmiris are unable to settle their social, political, economical and constitutional affairs between themselves. They are trying to spread an impression that Kashmiri people are leaderless. I would strongly differ with such absurd opinion. Kashmiris do have leadership, but that leadership need removal of the barrel of the gun on their heads. They need some free environment where they could sit together to discuss. It would be very much pragmatic if such talks be brokered by any prestigious institutions like the United Nations or any impartial state. I earnestly hope if Kashmiri people of all religious, languages, cultures and entities have this opportunity, they will bring dust to the entire region and to the world community in return. Ladies and gentlemen, without talking about the importance of natural resources on surface and subsoil, this presentation and my thrust for highlighting miseries of our people would not be accomplished. The most and precious resources which we Kashmiri owe are rivers. I am pleased to inform you that Maharaja of Kashmir has been receiving a royalty of all those rivers flowing downwards to Pakistan. But unfortunately, Pakistan has snatched that right from the state subjects and trying to bargain with India on the question of water resources. Other resources are precious minerals, which Pakistani Minerals and Industrial Development Corporation stealthily import into Pakistan and then to the international market. Those precious stones belong to the people of that region, but their income is not utilized on the well-being of common folk. Pakistani military officials stationed in that region are deforesting with the help of local forest department that has inflicted devastating effects on nature and wildlife. Mr. Chairman, ladies and gentlemen, I would also like to elaborate how majority people of Pakistan are excluded from primary health care, basic commodities of life, availability of life-saving drugs, clean drinking water and development opportunities, beside massive scale of women's rights violation and child labor. The most recent so-called man-made famine is not a natural phenomenon according to one weather expert in Pakistan. It is due to bad governance. Why? Because majority of that areas are Hindus and are living in the country like Pakistan is their biggest pride. Their young girls are forcibly converted and married unwillingly. With the people of so-called Azad Kashmir are victim of Pakistani state institutions. The health sector in our region is run by the military of Pakistan. They have destroyed state-owned educational system to promote army public school systems in all districts And if anyone criticized on this dilemma, he had to meet the fate like Sardar Shaukat Ali Kashmiri and Sardar Arif Shahid. I thank you very much for your patience.